So, Flatwounds, Sixpence, half a scalloped fretboard. That might indicate what kind of music I like, but this is just the arpeggios that I used to practice with. Simple ones. You've seen and heard me do this a lot of times. That's because I don't like to use the arpeggio with, say, D minor. You end up in A. Start from A, end in A. But to me, I didn't want that to be the end point because the key was in D. The arpeggio was D minor. But then I usually just add the top part. I just tap that in. But what I like to do is just, instead of just using all these like 5-string arpeggios, mix them up a little bit. I say you use the 4 strings, top 4 strings first. I don't know how to do that slowly. That's the basic one, the basic outline of the D minor. Do that in the opposite, then back up. Then you take the entire arpeggio, but from the top down. That's mainly how I've been practicing arpeggios for a long time. And it's only because of arpeggios I started doing finger tapping. That was only because of arpeggios. I've never... Well, my pinky doesn't really want to do as much as I wanted to. And I can't reach that much. Nearly impossible for me. But what I do like is complex things. But I like classical music as much as I like modern music. So this kind of intricacies where it just puts everybody off in the band, off. But what the fuck was that for? But instead of just wanking along, and just surprised them out from the left field. And I have a bad habit of doing that because I like shredding. Just as much as I like playing slow, which is also why I like scalloped fretboards. You have so much control over your vibrato that it helps a lot with more sustained, slower notes. If you want more emotional sounding, as opposed to now, already the wood there is giving enough resistance so you don't really feel the and I also have to pull harder to bend it as much as I want to. I don't need to do that with the scallop part. That's why that also helps. One myth with scalloped fretboard is that it makes you play faster. No, opposite. If you're used to the regular, well, you are used to the regular fretboard edges. Once you put your hands around a scalloped fretboard, you immediately feel the dips. Even though the fret edges around it, you can feel them. It's a weird feeling to have. And even though the neck might be thick, the scalloping itself makes it feel thin, but it isn't. So the actual thickness is the top of the frets. But your eyes are deceiving you from your own vantage point. And it can do some good. For example, for me, this was just an example for me to try out. I did that myself. Just to try out to have something to play rhythm with, where I don't have to think about that I'm pressing down too hard with my fingers. Because if you do that with a scalloped fretboard, you pull sharp on that note. But with flat wounds, that doesn't seem to be the problem. I have to press really hard before I can press them out of tune. So, in a weird way, the setup with jazz strings, flatwound strings, Brian May-esque sixpence pick, scalloped fretboard, seems to work out for me. And that's pretty much all I've been doing. And if you need some update on the meth and crackhead incestuous sibling couple, that to them that means this sounds horny. For some reason, whenever I start playing arpeggios, they start saying that I'm horny and jacking off. Meth heads and crackheads. Nah, they shut up. But to finish it off, it's not really that different. The only thing that you really need to get used to is the feeling of the sides. It's just when you're used to the smooth neck edges, then you have all the dips in between each frets when you have them scalloped. It takes some getting used to. It doesn't really induce fast playing. Also, you need to be mindful that when you're playing with normal strings, at least, if you're pressing down just a little tad too hard, you'll instantly pull that note sharp. But the benefit of it is that you have so much more control over that individual note. But I've also tried with clean sounds. Just to see how well it's intonated, and people say that it's impossible to play in tune with your bandmates and yourself with all the other strings with the scalloped fretboard. No. So that's that. Yeah. Well, the tension from flat wounds are a bit, to say the least, hard. And I've been steadily adjusting my trem bridge. And I can see it's starting to go up again from yesterday, and I'm in E. So I'm still stretching them out. I'm about 3 weeks in with having these strings on. and they're not fully stretched yet. But if you're a solo player, what I can tell you what this helps me with, especially when playing solos, is that the flat wounds, they're smooth. They're not like the round wound strings.